Speaking the truth, YN's voice was beginning to sink in. While hearing this answer, Jungkook's grip on YN's shoulders weakened, and then his face became pale. YN could see the intensity of emotion in his eyes turn to coldness. Jungkook, even at this time I can control every authority, and you, who can stop me? Now, let me show the unfair advantage of my powers. It is useless to say anything to you now. Standing motionless, YN came to her senses like an arrow, then went behind him, and held his arm with both her hands to stop him. YN, Jungkook, I could have told you a lie instead of the truth, which would not have made you so angry with me. But I just wanted to tell you the truth. YN, after losing a strong shelter and protection like my father, it was not easy for me to trust anyone. It is my fault, I accept it. I have seen poverty, so I cannot stop sympathizing with any poor person. This is my weakness. Jungkook, no, don't be ashamed. You just told me the truth. You know the truth is that everything I said to you in anger while sitting in front of you in the cafe that night was an expression of my understanding and love for you. Wow, but your mistrust called all this humiliation. I was anxiously following you, and you thought that I wanted to take some revenge from you. I am grateful that Jinny's did not hide anything from me. I feel sorry for you after knowing your negative thinking. Jungkook, you know what is your problem, that you cross limits in every situation, whether it's mistrust and sympathy. You know that in what danger your sympathy led you to. Your continuous mistrust have wasted yours and my precious time. I hope you can work on your flaws and weaknesses. Don't worry, I won't bother you to mend my broken heart. At Jungkook's serious tone, YN couldn't utter a word. Jungkook, let's go, I'll drop you on the platform. Saying this, he started leaving. YN, listen, stop there. Jungkook halted his steps at her words. She took off her silk headscarf and gave it to him. YN, the blood is flowing from your wound. Clean it with it. He paused for a moment at YN's soft tone, and then took the headscarf and went ahead. As she followed Jungkook out of the narrow street, she saw that he had tied a headscarf around his head like a bandage on his forehead. Jungkook did not address her or look at her as he walked up to the platform. Jinny was waiting on the platform, but she was pleasantly surprised when Jungkook arrived with and Jinny Kim. I'm glad to see you two together. I'm sure you've talked to YN and worked things out, but Jinny Kim, what is the injury on your head? Jungkook, this is the injury of misgivings, he said with a broad smile. Jungkook, and as for everything being fine, I don't expect anything to be fine now. Anyway, I'm going now, take care. Without giving her a chance, he moved on. Jinny stared at Jungkook's back for a moment as he walked away, then looked at YN, who looked wide-eyed. Jinny Kim, I'll bring hot coffee for you. Look, you are all drenched in rain. Jinny spoke hastily and almost ran. Wrapping both arms around herself, she slumped awkwardly on the bench. She knew Jinny had gone after Jungkook under the pretext of coffee. She wanted to stop her from talking to Jungkook about it because it wasn't going to matter anymore. Jungkook's feelings had been hurt by her. He would never want her again after breaking him and his hopes. She can get up in sight and stand again, not in his sight. When Jinny came back, she was very serious and quiet. While sipping hot coffee, YN didn't ask him any questions either. She knew that Jungkook was not going to come back. Jinny Kim, are you okay? Jinny pitifully put her hand on his shoulder. Drenched in the rain and cold, she fell ill. Frayed nerves and regrets overwhelmed him. Her job was in jeopardy on repeated occasions, but Jinny proved to be very helpful during this time. She was allowed to take vacations till the end. It was the third day of her leave. She remained locked in the room, but she had to come out after repeated requests from her mother. In the green area of the house, it is soft and warm. She was sitting on a chair in the sun. Her 18-year-old brother was repairing his bike near the door of the compound. On one side, her mother was spreading washed clothes on the rope. Taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes. The heat of the sun was soothing to her weakly healed existence. She closed her eyes for some time when the sound of a car engine echoed in a quiet and peaceful atmosphere. As soon as she saw the jeep stopping outside the premises, she was stunned. Her mother and brother also pay attention to this. Lady police officer Yoon-ah, who got down from the open jeep, was also recognized by her mother. That night when Yoon-ah had come home with her, then Jungkook had stayed outside. He had not come inside the house, but today, seeing him getting down from the jeep, YN's heart sank. Jungkook just glanced at her, who was looking like a yellow flower with a yellow warm shawl wrapped around her. YN saw Yoon-ah talking to her mother, then coming towards her, while Jungkook was going inside the house while talking to her brother and mother. Getting up from the chair, she started looking at Yoon-ah with confused eyes, who was dressed in normal clothes instead of uniform. I am Yoon-ah. How are you, YN? Are you worried about seeing us? YN, no, there is no such thing. She could not smile. I am Yoon. Jungkook and I have brought a very good news for you. Can we sit inside and talk with everyone? I'm Yoon said in a pleasant tone. YN, no, talk here. Please. I am Yoon. Okay, we will talk here. You know how many iron picks have to be chewed to reach this killer. The waves of fear have gone away from the atmosphere of the city. I'm Yoon. Many innocent women have been saved from being killed. For all the people of the police and crime branch who are eager to reach this killer, our officers have held an honorary ceremony in which all these people have been rewarded and honors will be given. I'm Yoon. How can we all forget you on this occasion? Because of you we can catch this murderer red-handed. YN. But I didn't do anything. I am Yoon. You are also involved. Jungkook also agrees on it, and he wants you to participate in the event with your mother and brother. YN. I cannot say anything right now. I am Yoon. Okay, I'll tell this to Jungkook. After saying this, I'm Yoon went inside the house, while she sat on the chair again. Some time had passed when she saw Jungkook coming towards her. She again couldn't look at him. She intended to not look at him, which Jungkook also realized. Jungkook, I just want to say that you must participate in this event. No one is doing you a favor. This is your right. Jungkook, your hate and disgust for me, keep it aside for now and do not lose THI opportunity. He looked at her expectantly for a few moments, speaking in a deep, serious tone. But when she did not raise her head, Jungkook turned around and moved towards the entrance of the premises. Her mother and brother reached the door with I'm Yoon. While starting the jeep, Jungkook can't stop looking at her last as she quickly went inside the house. Everyone tried to change her mind, but she didn't budge. Jinny was angry at her for her brazeness, but she did not agree to attend the honor ceremony. Her mother and brother had to attend the event. It was a golden opportunity for her brother to attend the event. YN shield and honorary certificate were taken by her brother, but, along with it, at the same time, his job was also fixed in the police department. As soon as his study completes, his training will start for the job. The offer was also made for the YN, which was also announced at the ceremony. And not only this, she got a house in a good area of the city by the organization. Her mother and brother were very happy, and they were very proud of YN. YN was happy with the happiness of both of them, but she was not interested in the job offer. She had a good discussion with Jinny on this matter, but in this case too, her refusal could not change to yes in any way. The weather was cold and cloudy. The rain last night made the weather very beautiful and pleasant. At the flower shop, the spring of beautiful flowers had descended. Smell of colorful flowers was all around. A week had passed since she came to work. Today she was wearing a white, simple dress and a white ribbon to cage her hair. She moved her eyes in front of the coffee shop, where many people were sitting, but her eyes were stuck on one specific person, who was sitting wearing a black high neck and black leather jacket, legs crossed, immersed in newspaper and coffee. She unconsciously expected Jungkook to be here. While working, she would look up time to time. When she saw Jungkook getting up from the chair, she took care of her rising beets, planted the flowers in the vase, and became unconnected with the surroundings. Taking a bird's eye look at the pile of flowers, he turned back to her who had taken her eyes away from him. Jungkook, do I have to introduce myself? Don't you recognize me? When he was ignored, he looked at her with dark eyes and said in cold voice, YN, this is my work time. Jungkook, when it comes to work, do you remember someone talking to you? YN looked at him when his tone got more serious. Jungkook, why didn't you participate in the ceremony? I myself came to you so that you would not be foolish not to go there because of me, but you wanted an invitation. With what protocol? What are you so proud of? Jungkook, you had such a good offer. You have something called mind to think and understand, or not. You have to spend your whole life selling these flowers. So, keep doing this with passion. Why don't anyone die worry about you? Your indifference will remain your pride. His words hurt YN more than his flaming tone. YN, I am neither insensitive nor am I proud of anything. I don't know how to play with weapons like you, and I don't know how to run after criminals like you. That's why I am selling flowers. Because that's what I want. I didn't accept that offer because I want to think about my life now. I'm tired. Now I want to settle my house and get my share of happiness. As for you, I am grateful to you for what I did, but YN, you don't have the right to stand on the road and say bad things to me. Do hide her tears. She turned towards the other counter and started picking flowers for the bouquet. For a few moments, Jungkook had been looking at her with embarrassed eyes. He was not late in going to the second counter. She kept her head down and prepared the bouquet. She didn't even want to be attracted to him again. Who brought tears in her eyes? Jungkook. Forgive me, I'm getting more sensitive for you, he said in a dull and unrepentant tone, but YN was like she did not heard, was busy with flowers, she was busy. Jungkook stood waiting for her attention, looking carefully at the bouquets made by YN. Jungkook, good, you are very skilled in this work. I believe that after settling your house together with a stupid person, according to your wish and bringing 2 or 3 examples of this to the world, you will definitely think about bringing this skill to work. YN looked up at him for a moment, a mischievous smile shining in his eyes could be seen clearly. She again looked down preparing her bouquet. Jungkook, I know you are very busy, but after knowing your wish, my sorrows have also woken up. How long have I been waiting for me to get a chance and settle my house? While saying this, he placed his hand on the counter filled with flowers. He leaned slightly towards her, but the next moment he felt an electric shock. Shocked, YN also looked at him, who was looking at the rising drops of blood on his broad palm. YN, there are thorns along with the flowers. You should touch them with care, she said again, engulfing herself in her work. Jungkook, how would I know the delicacy of flowers? I play with weapons. If you can understand, then please explain. YN, no, I don't have the thing called brain to understand, so what will I explain to you? Speaking in a vindictive tone, YN placed the tissue paper in front of him while a smile spread across Jungkook's face. Jungkook, listen, girl who decorates flowers, your delicacy is in its place. Don't bother me with tissue paper, only the magic ointment of your lips can heal my wound. On his deep meaningful tone, YN could not look at his deep gaze. Ignoring this, she continued to arrange the flowers while he was looking at her red face with smiling eyes. It was then that a nearby bike caught YN's attention. The boy got off the bike and approached the counter looking at YN with interest. He had definitely come to buy flowers. Jungkook glared at him and began to wipe the red drops on his palm with a tissue paper while YN looked at the boy with eager questioning eyes. Boy, hello sweetie, I need some flowers. This time Jungkook had to look specifically at the boy's frank manner. YN, tell me what color flowers you want. Boy, all those colors that are visible on your face. YN glanced nervously at Jungkook's stern face at the boy's flamboyant manner. He was looking at the boy whose only interest was YN at the moment. YN, I take out flowers, you can choose. Concealing her panic, she moved aside from the border and started picking flowers. Boy, some flowers should be just like your lake-like eyes. Some flowers should be as pink as your chi. The boy's slurred voice was cut off when Jungkook's fist hit him in the face. YN, stop Jungkook, screamed YN, ran in the speed of lightning towards Jungkook, who was moving aggressively towards the downed boy, but YN got in the way. She wrapped her arms around Jungkook's chest tightly, holding him back. Jungkook, a girl toiling on the street looks like your father's property, flirting under the guise of buying flowers. Come tell me what color flowers you want. Roaring furiously, he was moving towards the boy, but YN was trying to stop him with all her might. On the other hand, the boy started the bike after seeing Jungkook's provocation and escaped. Jungkook, why did you need to come in the middle instead of breaking his mouth? You stopped me. Now what happened to you? I am telling you something,
he said, addressing her, who was sobbing in his arms. Jungkook, if you are soaking my neck with your tears because you think that someone can be so sensitive and crazy for you, then believe that Jungkook has become insanely sensitive for you, he said with a smile as he stroked her soft hair. Bracing herself, YN pulled back to see his twinkling eyes and charming smile on
YN, such a pity why it took me so long to recognize this madness. She spoke with a wet smile. Jungkook, do this regret later. First, do something about the wound on my palm. These flowers must have poisonous thorns. I feel pain. I think the poison is spreading. YN looked surprised at Jungkook's concern and immediately laughed. Jungkook, yeah, well, your laughing face is enough to seduce me. Now you'll have to do a favor to keep me in line, he said in a mischievous tone as YN, laughing once again, took his hand in hers and pressed his palm to her lips. Then they all oved happily after.